Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. BILOXI Blues is a 1988 military comedy drama film that was directed by Mike Nichols. It was written by Neil Simon, and it stars Matthew Broderick and Christopher Walken. Simon is the one that adapted his semi-autobiographical 1984 play of the same name, and it's the second chapter of what is known as the Eugene trilogy, the first being Brighton Beach Memoirs, and the third being Broadway Bound. The storyline for the film goes that New York City teenager Eugene Jerome enlists in the United States Army and is sent to basic training in Biloxi, Mississippi. This is all during the last year of World War II. He expects everything to be dolls, donuts, and USO dances, but he instead encounters a sadistic drill sergeant and a platoon of often hostile recruits. He learns the hardships of war through boot camp and to accept other people's differences. He falls in love and loses his virginity to a lady of the night. He's armed with only his sense of humor, but he's determined to leave this camp with everything that he came in with, as he and the other recruits must endure the rigorous training there and the abuse that they incur from their instructor. Christopher Walken is especially good in his role as Sergeant Toomey. He plays it with a real friendly demeanor. He got this idea from talking to a military consultant who was considered a really strong drill sergeant, but at the same time, he was also described as a very nice, soft-spoken man, someone that everybody feared, and that he didn't have to sound or look fearful to get that response. After meeting this man, he decided to incorporate both types of people into his character, which was almost a complete turnaround in difference from the stage play of character Sergeant Toomey. According to Corey Parker, who played Epstein in the film, the scariest experience that he had during the shoot was when Christopher Walken came in plastered when he did the filming of the scene where he's supposed to be drunk and he's carrying a pistol. He was so drunk during the filming that they had to feed him his individual lines during the shoot. The original Broadway production of Biloxi Blues opened at the Neil Simon Theater on March 28, 1985, and it ran for 524 performances until June of 1986. It won 3 Tony Awards, one for Best Play, Best Featured Actor, and Best Direction. Though actor Matthew Broderick won a Tony Award for playing Eugene on Broadway, he did not play that part in the cinema movie of Brighton Beach Memoirs, which was this film's precursor. He did play him in this sequel, and then Jonathan Silverman, who had replaced Broderick in the Broadway run of Brighton Beach Memoirs, and Biloxi Blues, played Eugene in the film version of Brighton Beach Memoirs. The movie differs from the play in significant ways. In the play, the climactic confrontation is between Sergeant Toomey and Arnold Epstein, not Eugene Jerome. Also, the play is set in 1943, not the movie's 1945. The cinematographer shot the picture in Super 35 format so that he could get a greater depth of field, which made it easier to look at in appearance. He wanted a look that was tender, not tough. They weren't trying to show people the grimy, dirty, terrible thing that war is, but more where you see the characters laugh and cry. In a shocking and extraordinarily unprecedented incident with 2 of the most powerful and influential film critics in America at the time, both Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel sharply criticized the director of this film for not hiring Barry Miller to recreate his Tony Award-winning stage performance in this film version. Because of this criticism, the studio threatened if they didn't retract or change their opinion on this, that they might possibly ban them from obtaining pre-screenings of the studio's films in the future. Siskel was particularly enraged at this, going so far on his broadcast of Siskel and Ebert to call the movie a complete failure because of Barry Miller's absence in the role of Epstein. Ebert's print review echoed the same sentiment. He wrote that the movie adaptation was pale, shallow, unconvincing, and predictable, that nothing in the film is deeply felt or even thought about. I feel that the film is a real joy to watch, as Jerome sets out with 3 goals in mind. One is to lose his virginity, the second being to live through the war, and the third to become a writer. Throughout the entire film, he keeps a journal to record his impressions of his fellow draftees. One of the best scenes in the film is where the recruits receive a 2-day leave, and their big goal during this time is to go visit a lady of the night. That part of the filming was filmed in Van Buren, Arkansas, but most of the entire movie was filmed in the neighboring town of Fort Smith, Arkansas, at Fort Chaffee. Now, the lady of the night that they visit is played by Park Overall. She plays Rowena, and she has the boys lining up outside her bedroom door, waiting for a chance to spend some time with her, to turn them into true men. And she completely knocks their socks off in this role. Her scratchy southern voice, her southern charm, and the dialogue that goes back and forth between Broderick and her is remarkable. It's truly the high spot of the film, and it's one of those scenes that you can watch over and over again and laugh the entire time. The nervousness that Broderick shows as a guy that has no experience in the endeavor that he's about to perform, in contrast with his lady friend who lends a guiding hand to the youngster. This scene is truly remarkable. It's worth watching the movie just for this. Take a look at this, what I think is a pretty good film from the 1980s. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.